Nari Shakti. But look at what is happening in Karnataka, BJP-ruled state, where a Karnataka seer accused of rape 6 days ago is still roaming free. Both the BJP and the Congress are staying silent. The pontiff is accused of raping 2 minor girls, both students, who were staying at the school hostel attached to his mutt. Political leaders, as I said, whether from the BJP or the Congress, are maintaining silence. Why? There is an election in Karnataka, and the mutt has a powerful influence among the numerically strong Lingayat community. Here is our other special report.
6 days since he was booked for child rape, Karnataka's Muruga Mutt Seer, Shivamurthy Murugha Sharanaru is still free. On Wednesday evening, the seer was seen walking around the mutt, going into the girls' hostel where the 2 survivors also stayed. All the girls have been moved out of the mutt hostel. But despite several visits from the police and a lookout notice against the seer, he's still not been arrested. Shivamurthy Murugha Sharanaru belongs to the influential Lingayat community, which is a crucial vote bank in Karnataka. Assembly elections are just months away. Is that why no action has been taken against the seer?
ಸತ್ಯಾಸತ್ಯತೆ ಹೊರಬರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಪೊಲೀಸರು ತಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯ ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಫ್ರೀ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನೂ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂಗಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂಗಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಾಗ ನಾನು ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು, ನೀವು ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಸರಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಕಾನೂನಿಗೆ ತಲೆ ಬಾಗೋಣ. ಯಾರೇ ಎಷ್ಟೇ ದೊಡ್ಡವರಾದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಕಾನೂನು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಒಂದೇ. ಆ ಕಾನೂನನ್ನು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಪಾಲನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ
ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಗೇಷನ್ is going on. Let investigation report come out. Arresting, non-arresting is not an issue. The investigation should be proper. I hope the Karnataka government and Karnataka police are doing the proper investigation.
I don't know the fact. According to me, I have seen that he is a very noble man who has done some great contribution to the state. Let me leave it to the, let me not interfere with the, whatever the police or the government is doing late, because I can't only reply to whatever you are telling. Let me examine it, then I'll come back to you.
After days of outrage, some political leaders are speaking out, demanding action against the seer.
Looked under POCSO, he must immediately arrested within 24 hours. But in this case, that has not been happened. People are asking, why? Is there any law for the shrine and the common man?
Mutts like Murugha Rajendra wield huge clout in Chitradurga. With the Lingayats spread over Karnataka, the Mutts also command political influence, and several chief ministers of the state, including the current CM Basavaraj Bommai and former chief minister B.S. Yediyurappa, hail from the community. With Sagai Raj in Chitradurga, Bureau Report, India Today.
So why is the Karnataka rape suspect seer from the Lingayat mutt in Chitradurga still roaming free? Tomorrow will be a week. Why is there so much of silence on the Karnataka horror across the political spectrum? Should the civil society of Karnataka start speaking out? Are elections bigger than women's safety in this country? Joining me now is Tara Krishnaswamy, co-founder Citizens for Bengaluru and Political Shakti. K.V. Dhananjay is advocate at the Supreme Court. Appreciate both of you joining us. Tara, your first reactions. It's 6 days now and we barely heard anything from the political class. A person accused of very serious charges, FIR filed, but still no action, allowed virtually to take anticipatory bail, it appears.
Oh, we've actually heard plenty from the political class. We've had the sitting Home Minister make comments in defense of the accused. We have had, the ex-Chief Minister of Karnataka, Yediyurappa, make comments in favor of the accused. They have already pretty much given a verdict You just showed on your screen another Karnataka minister make a comment that the police are proceeding with their investigation. How can they be proceeding with the investigation when they are not following the due process of law, when they have not arrested him as per POCSO, when he actually attempted to leave and they all stopped him. They stopped him, but they haven't even questioned him. It's been nearly a week they haven't questioned him. And one of the survivors, both of them being minors, one of them also this comes under the purview of the SC/ST Act, and yet absolutely no action has been taken around the accused. So it seems like the law is differentially applied depending on who it is. And we must, Rajdeep, for a moment reflect on the enormous courage of the young women.
Yes.
They are they are at an age where they are aware of the sheer imbalance of power that exists between them and the entire establishment, both the religious establishment involved here and the political establishment involved here. They know that politicians have been visiting this matta, and they also know just how powerful this religious establishment is. And yet, these girls, having been abused for years, have come out and, so courageously reported this. And if this is the reaction of the government, it is one thing to, for the action not to be prompt. It's another thing for, for them to dilly-dally. It's yet another thing for them to come out and even before the investigation, coolly make statements of defense. That is just completely shocking. On what basis do they get to say whether someone's innocent or guilty?
Because at the end of the day, the Lingayat Seer that we are talking about is not just any other seer. He is someone who has been actively courted by political parties in Karnataka, both the BJP, Mr. Yediyurappa has patronized him for years, and Rahul Gandhi also was seen in a photo op with him a few weeks ago when he was in Karnataka. KV Dhananjay, what does that tell us about the law? As an advocate at the Supreme Court, what does that tell us? That the laws are different? If you are a powerful, influential person in Karnataka and there are elections 6 months ago, you are accused of raping minor girls, but the law won't touch you? Is that what the message is going out?
What we are seeing is perversion on the part of the police in Karnataka. And I don't think any member of the police force would be able to justify the fact that they have not bothered to arrest this individual, the accused person. Now, child victims don't often say everything at one go, and when the child victims here are expected to be aware of the political influence that the accuser wields. And after having said whatever they did say to the police, I'm sure the child victims would also be aware that the police have not bothered to arrest the accused. But instead, the police, in fact, let the accused to stay where he stays and then take these children to the very place for the purpose of a mazar. Nobody in this country would do anything of that sort. And that's the reason why I call this as perversion. And I think it's fair to say that the criminal justice system is falling apart. Because if you would want to, in fact, say that these are the signs that a failing criminal justice system sends out, these are those signs. What the police is doing in Karnataka is absolutely appalling. And as a lawyer, and I can tell you, I don't see a parallel to this at any previous point of time.
No, there have been cases we know in other parts of the country also where VVIPs are involved. There are attempts made to brush cases under the carpet or to try and go soft on these cases. And here you've got someone who in every picture that I show you is with even bigger and bigger politicians.
Well, I meant the circumstances of this case.
Sure.
Because we've come to read about the facts that the victims have stated to the police and to the courts. So in light of those circumstances, it's fair to say that we don't see a recent precedent at all. And the arrest of the accused is not done merely to placate the public. It's basically done for investigative purposes because it's got a protective effect on the victims. And very often in such cases, the police would know that these kinds of abuse may not be isolated incidents, and the police would arrest the accused so that the police can uncover the possibility of a larger malaise or
are you saying in a normal case the arrest would have been immediate, questioning would have been immediate, arrest would have been immediate?
Almost always in POCSO cases where the head of an institution faces the allegation in the manner that this case involves, arrest would nearly be automatic. And it does not matter what the statute says because what people get to see, what courts get to see is practice, which is 90% of the law. What the law states in black and white is only 10%. So what we always invariably see is an arrest. and we don't see an arrest here, and that in fact should tell us that the police is trying to in fact protect the accused, and that is going to have an adverse effect on the investigation, because the investigation would require people to come forward and speak to the police with confidence.
Right.
That would be impossible considering what the police have done, because
so
7 days...
You're questioning the way the police have dealt with this case. The question, of course, is, Tara Krishnaswamy, that there is an election in Karnataka in 7 months. Everyone wants the Lingayat vote, and the Mutts have huge appeal. We've seen it. Mr. Yediyurappa has used that. That's why he's such a powerful, influential leader, the only BJP leader perhaps who's over 75 and not sent to the Margdarshak Mandal yet. So therefore, with an election, what does that say about the voter also? That voters are influenced. They will probably treat the Lingayat Seer with great reverence even now, despite these charges.
Yeah, it's interesting, because after every election, there is a postponed analysis that says the women's vote went to XYZ party. Okay, so there seems to be enough of an interest to chest thump once the vote is gotten. There seems to be enough of an interest during election campaigns to highlight what, the ruling party has done for women. But right now, gender has been thrown by the wayside. It is men first, and then their caste first, and then their religion first. And, women don't matter. If Lingayats are 17% of the population, that is true, but it's also true that women are 50% of the population. We are half the voters. And why is it that when it actually comes to, proving their mettle, that the gender gets thrown by the wayside? And you have not just women, you have minor girls, and you have girls from an oppressed community here, and all of that has been thrown by the wayside.
So you're saying that for most politicians, caste matters more than gender. They have not woken up to the reality, or even women have not woken up to the reality that they could be a 49% vote bank, a 50% vote bank, rather than just a 16% Lingayat vote bank. Am I correct?
You don't have to be a 50% vote bank, although we are 50%. You just have to have the differential of the vote. After all, those parties that get the women's vote, they're not getting 50% of the women's vote. They're not getting all the vote. They're getting 2, 3, 4% more.
But should they not speak out? Should more people in civil society very quickly not speak out? And if the politicians are not,
there's a huge protest being organized tomorrow, Rajdeep.
There is a huge
protest being organized tomorrow. Oh yeah, protests are being organized. There are protests. There's a protest in Mysuru that's happened. Protests are happening daily on the ground here.
Right. Okay. You're saying civil society is actually speaking out. The problem is with our political class, because our political class seems to move from one election to the other, and that leads to their selective morality. Enough of slogans, enough of tweets. What we really need is action. If 75 years after independence, a woman is being stalked every hour, as we said at the start of the show, if a woman is raped every 16 minutes in this country, we should be ashamed as a nation. This is not the new India we want. Tonight's program has, in a sense, focused on a darker side of our new India hopes. Tara Krishnaswamy, Mr. Dhananjay, I appreciate you joining me here.